right? So we all like success, right? Of course we do. Success, it leaves us with a high because we've done something that's gone our way. We've gone our way in the world, which makes us feel good. And besides that, when we're successful at doing something, it also means that we've done something that oftentimes other people were not able to do. Since we were able to do it, it sets us apart from other people. We were able to do something that someone else hasn't been able to do, which makes us feel special. And from an evolutionary standpoint, being special means that we have some sort of advantage that leads to us having a certain influence in the world around us that other people are unable to influence. And when this happens again and again and again, as in we're successful consistently, oftentimes it goes to our head. We begin thinking that we are better than everyone else. I mean, that's the reason why we're successful in the first place, right? Right? It means that we're faster, stronger, smarter, well, just better than other people. Because we are able to do something that others have not been able to do, which is why we have been able to influence the world in a way that other people have not. And this way, as it gets to our head, it begins to have a detrimental effect. As it's true that we may have had that initial advantage. Think of it this way. If the people that are at the top of their field, such as in basketball, LeBron James, or who else? A singer like Ariana Grande or the Beatles, if they had just taken their initial advantage and didn't do anything with it, will they have been the best? Of course not. They spent countless hours of practice. And this initial success that leads to us thinking that we're better than everyone else, oftentimes it leads to a tale of the rabbit and the tortoise. As in, we become the rabbit where we think we don't have to do anything. We just take a nap while other people try to catch up. And this mentality of the rabbit and the tortoise, where we are the rabbit, thinking that we don't have to try as hard because we're already that good, it is hubris. And very quickly, hubris. Hubris is when it comes from a Greek tragedy. I believe it's the story of a father and his son, and they were in a prison. They're trapped inside a prison, unable to leave, and the father decided to build a set of wings. And after completing that set of wings, he gave it to his son and told his son to fly away from this place, but don't fly too high. That's what the father told his son before giving him these wings. And what the son did, well, he decided to, as he was flying away, he was so happy that he was able to fly away from this place, that he flew higher and higher and higher against the wishes of his father, against the counsel of his father. And as he flew higher and higher and higher, he flew too high, too close to the sun, as in very bright sun, and the hot sun melted the wings. And when the wings melted, the son, as in the son of the father, fell to his death. And that's the story of hubris in the Greek tragedy. And this applies to someone that is overreaching, as in the rabbit thinking that you don't have to try as hard, or you try to do more than is possible. This also applies to someone that, how do I put this? Someone that thinks they're better than everyone else, as in someone that is very arrogant. So, for instance, using me as an example, when I left corporate America last year, it's been over a year now, year and a half almost, when I decided to leave, I knew at one point when I was leaving corporate America, I was leaving my accounting job in Reno, which was a steady paying job, same as everyone else. I've been there for over a year after graduating college. I was working that job, and when I decided to leave corporate America and go to foreign countries to explore different things, different career fields, meet different people, learn different languages, etc. When I decided to do that, go on this global odyssey, I decided to leave. At one point, in one instance, I was scared. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a whole lot of prospects going for me. It was just me by myself in some foreign country. I wasn't familiar with the culture. I didn't know the language. I didn't know anyone there. I had no network. At one point, I was scared. But at another point, another angle, I realized that I was doing something as a 23-year-old that few of my peers were willing and able to do. And this realization of essentially I was beginning to blaze my own trail led to a knowing smugness, let's call it. I was very smug about it. I was arrogant about it, which led to me thinking that I was better than everyone else because I was willing to do something that so few were willing to do. And this approach of being arrogant and thinking you're better than everyone else, it is the incorrect mentality when you're trying to learn as much as you can about the world. And I ended up learning this hard way, sort of like the Greek tragedy, except that I wasn't permanently injured. I learned this when I got thrown to the canvas over 100 times when I was training Muay Thai, or when I felt like I was walking with two left feet when I was trying my hand at salsa, or standing shaky knee in front of a classroom full of teenagers when I was an English teacher. I learned all this and it humbled me. I knew that from that point onward, up until that point when I was 23 last year, I had been in my comfort zone, in my element, up until that point, but being behind the desk in some form or another, whether it be as a student where I was sitting behind the desk, doing what the teacher tells me to do, or behind my standing desk as an accountant. This was all the stuff that I was familiar with, which is why I was at least decent at. When I was taken out of my element, that is when things didn't go so smoothly. But paradoxically, I found that the times when I was taken out of my element, as in I was in a place where I was unfamiliar with, that is when I've not only learned the most about the world and about myself, that's also when I had the most valuable and fulfilling experiences. And I suppose that's the thing I've learned. It's when you are taken out of your element, which I'm still doing right now. When you're taken out of your element, that is when you are able to strip away all of your egos, all of your previous knowledge, and you learn with an open heart, and you can absorb things like a sponge, just like when you were a small child. When you're a small child, that's when you learn the most essential things, such as learn how to walk, learn how to talk, learn how to read and write. Same thing when you are exposed to a new environment where you don't know anything. You're like that small child again. And at the same time, that's when you're able to absorb the most knowledge. Which I've still been doing, as I'm still being taken out of my element now. And when you are removed from all your familiarities, that is when you are able to learn the most. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is, what I've learned so far is that when you put yourself out there, I've learned that any previous success you've had is hubris. While any failure you have trying to learn something new, that is humble knowledge.